Is everybody ready? Who here is a base camp manager? A few of you, yes, okay. And how confident do you feel of your base camp manager's skills? Do you feel like it's easy to get around? Tracy does, Carol does, yes. Debbie Rose a little bit, Graham's pretty comfortable, fantastic. Well, let's see how confident we all are. And let's get into some base camp training. Now, first of all, the base camp manager stuff that I'm going to be showing you today, let's just share screen. This is going to be available to you if you are your club's president or your club's VP. Then you will go straight to this screen where we see these three tiles here: pending requests, member progress, and manager tutorials. So hopefully people have seen that. Now, as a base camp manager, a lot of what you're going to do is going to be approving these requests. And the requests are when people have finished a level or when people have finished a pathway. And to approve those requests, you're simply going to go into pending requests just here, and you will see either nothing or you'll see one or more pending requests. And all you really have to do is go over to the right here and click yes or no. Click on the green tick if you want to approve it, and click on the cross if you want to deny. I'm not sure why you'd want to deny. Why might you want to deny someone?
Okay, I had someone who submitted one in error. They hadn't completed it and they emailed me. Okay,
that's a good reason. Otherwise, as it's usually the VPE who's going to be doing these functions, and I guess as VPE, it's your responsibility to make sure that the member has finished all of the projects in that particular level. But usually that's not a problem. So usually you're going to click on approve. Now, I'm not going to click on approve here. Why might that be?
Because it's your own.
That's right. It is my own. And I'll share something with you. I have no idea how that thing came up for approval. I was playing around with this last night, and I've already finished level 1, but somehow it's come up for that approval again, which is convenient for today because I can show you something and you can see how it looks. So that's pretty much how you do the approvals, and that's probably what, 80% of what you're going to do as a base camp manager is manage the approvals. So if you come back to the home screen here, let's just think about the approvals for a moment. Apart from level requests, I've completed a level or I completed a pathway, do you know what other things you might have to approve?
Requests for speeches outside of the club?
That's right, requests for speeches outside of the club. You may or may not know that, but it's quite possible that members can do speeches outside of the club. It might either be at another Toastmasters club, or for some of the more advanced things, it can be projects at work, or even speaking at work, or even speaking professionally or semi-professionally. Now, those requests, when they come, they're going to come here, and they'll look pretty much the same. When a member makes a request for an external training to be ratified, there are 2 stages to it. There's what's called the initial request. In other words, I'm telling you that I'm going to be doing an external project. And then there's the completion request. But they'll look pretty much the same, and they'll come up here on this training screen, on this approval screen. Are there any questions around making the approvals? Any problems that people have had with it? No? Okay. let's go on to looking at the member reports then. What's that? So if you click on the member progress screen, what you'll see here is, they call them a bunch of dashboards. And these reports are going to be useful to you when you are checking on people's progress. So one of the things about the reports is they can take a bit of a long time to come up. And to make sure that you have the most up-to-date information here, you'll want to come to the Options tab up here on the right-hand side and click on Refresh. Because if you look at...
Where is the Options tab?
Pardon me?
Where is the Options tab?
The Options tab, let me just see if I can get the annotations working here. The options button is just here.
Oh, I don't see it in the screen.
You won't be able to see it if you've got the grid view open in Zoom. Perhaps I can make my screen a bit smaller. Does that help?
Oh, yes, I see it now.
Okay. So it's over on the right-hand side there. And you can see, if you look at these things down, if you look at these graphs here, you can see it says last refreshed was 12th of the 6th, or is it 6th of the 12th, 2020? It must be 12th of the 6th because we haven't got to December yet. Yeah. So these things are a little out of date. So we need to click on the refresh option there. Now that is going to take a little bit of time to refresh, but once that's happened, then you'll be able to see how we're going with each of the levels. Now this first thing here, individual progress, this talks about where each of your members are up to in each of the 5 levels of pathways. So if I scroll down a little way, you can see we've got level 5 projects in progress down the end. We've got 1 there. Up here, we've got level 1 projects in progress, then level 2 over on the right. It depends a little bit on how big your screen is. If you make the screen smaller, then it might stack. No, it doesn't stack. I thought it did. So the refreshing does take a bit of time, as you can see. That's one thing that you'll get a bit used to with...
Why are the bars of different lengths? What does that mean?
The bars, I'll tell you what they mean.
Yes. One evaluation of feedback is a 15. Icebreaker is a 20, or it was one before you moved it.
Yep, certainly. So in the individual progress here on level 1 projects, you see that we've got things that are in progress for people. Icebreakers, research and presenting, evaluation and feedback. These are the 3 projects that you have to complete for level 1. And if you hover your mouse over the box, you'll see that it's got a number next to it. For evaluation and feedback, we've got 12. For Icebreaker, we've got 15. That represents the number of people that are doing or have finished those particular projects. Now, that graph by itself probably isn't very informative. So one thing we can do is on each of these graphs, if we click on this little down arrow here, you can see that we have a number of options. One of the options is view details. Now, can you see the screen that's just popped up or not?
No.
Okay, that means I'm sharing not correctly. Just a moment. I'll change the share to everything. All right, so there's the dashboards, and can you see it now, the screen that's popped up?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So you can see we've got the level 1 projects in progress, same information as we had before, but down the end here now we've got more information about each of those bars. So if we look at evaluation and feedback, it says that we have 12 people who are in progress or have completed that particular project, the evaluation and feedback. So if I look at the corresponding lines, evaluation and feedback here, 12 people, and then it lists each of the members who have started or have completed this thing. So you'll see a
Graeme,
yes.
can I just ask one question with that? If
Certainly.
someone's a dual member,
Mm-hmm.
if they're not logged in as that your club, it doesn't come up on that report though, does it?
That's a good question. I'm not
Because
quite
that's where
sure.
I've had an issue and I got confused with, and that's where I figured it out to be.
Okay.
It depends on whether it's in progress. It depends on which club they're logged on to.
Yeah.
If they've actually completed it, it'll depend on which club they completed it for.
So that while they're accurate, they can be a little bit of an anomaly if you're wondering why your numbers might be out for your memberships.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes.
This screen shows something that has been, for me, has been the problem with the pathways or base camp from the very beginning. It's so much information that you can't find whatever you want to say. It's like finding one specific leaf in the forest. It is there, but you're going to spend so much time looking through, turning things around to find it.
Okay, that's fair enough. There is a lot of information, I'll grant you that. I could see here that
Normally, what I would like to do is go and say, member join blogs, see what the development is. I want to see information for that member only.
okay. Well, in fact, we can do that, and I'll get to that in a little while. So that's one way that you can get the information from these graphs. Another way is, you see here, export to Excel. So if you're keen to use Excel, you can download the same information as you see in this graph here. And hopefully you can see, if I click on this, Excel should be opening. You can see that, yes. And then in Excel, you get the same information that you had in the report. And then you can use that to manipulate, and maybe you can use it to update your own records if that's the way that you're tracking things in your club. Now, there are various reports here. There's individual progress, like I've said. There is level completions. So people who have completed the different levels. It's a bit low in our club. There is progress through each of the paths, which will come up in just a moment. These are paths that are in progress, or they've not yet started, or they're completed.
Graeme,
Yes.
Find out which path is the member has chosen.
Which path members have chosen?
Yes, how can I find out?
Okay, so that would be, I think it would be path type. No, that's not right at all. Path progress. So this is the one that will show you which paths the members have chosen. So here you can see the status of all paths. So dynamic leadership at my club, that's 2 people have chosen that. And again, if I click on the view details, we should be able to see who those people are. So I can see that the people who've chosen dynamic leadership here are my friends Zola and Dylan. 3 people have the effective coaching path, and so on. So that's how you can see that one there.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Now, if we go back to the home screen, I think you're asking before about seeing an individual member's progress and where they're up to, and so on. So an easy way to do that, or a semi-easy way to do that, is to come up, and I'll maybe make my screen a bit smaller again, is to come up to this search box here. And if you want to find out for a particular member, you just type in their name, and you can see that you get their name coming up here. If you click on that, then what you'll get is a summary of that member, and I'll make it a bit bigger again here. But then if you go to here, up here, paths and learning, and click on that one, then you can actually see information about the path just as the member would see it. So I can see that May, who I'm looking at here, she's chosen presentation mastery, and paths and learning. Nope, I'm sorry. Let me try that again. Paths and learning, and if we go into presentation mastery, then we can see exactly what May has been up to. So she's still on level 1. We need to encourage her to do more than her icebreaker. If I go and look at my own profile, which I can do even as a base camp manager, go to paths and learning, and then open curriculum, then you can see that level 1, I've completed these things. I have actually completed that. Level 2, I've completed these things. Excuse me. And level 3, I've done one of the elective projects, and I have to do the mandatory project, which is reaching consensus. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah, thanks.
Another thing you can do when you're looking at the levels is if you click on the level, you'll see down the bottom here, view certificate. Now, I don't know how many people use this, but if you view certificate, it then gives you something that you can print out and perhaps present to people during a meeting. Well, when we're meeting in person, that is. And you can do that for each of the levels. Let me look at Zola's one. Zola is our club treasurer. If I go to paths and learning and open her dynamic leadership, level 1, and view certificate, and there we go. And I've just seen a comment there, you can present them online as well. Yes, you can, of course you can, just like we do with the certificates for online contests, which I did one this week for our club.
Graeme, it's Carol.
Yes.
I just wanted to pop in and say that sometimes there may be a few little hiccups in the way in which you can see their progress using this particular process, and I'm following online with it. It's fine. But when you have a person in a club who has not followed the levels, you know, you can pick and choose. You can go into various levels and pick the particular project that you want.
Yes.
Then they can often forget to go back and do the levels in sequence by completing each of the projects. And that's a problem that I have right now with one of my members. Even though he has completed level 1, it doesn't show up here in Basecamp. It shows up in my Easy Speak records.
Yes.
And the problem has been that he has not gone back to go to the self-assessment page for each of those projects.
Yes.
So it's just a reminder that that still needs to be done.
Yes. Yes, that's right. Yeah, and that's a good point. Thank you for that, Carol. I know I've had that problem where people have said to me, look, I've finished the project, but it hasn't shown up in Pathways. And that's because, as Carol just said, they haven't gone back and finished the self-assessment. And that's what triggers the completion of the project, or at least the flagging of the completion of the project in Pathways. So It's the same at my club with Easy Speak. We do get things recorded in Easy Speak, but that doesn't flow through to Pathways. Does anybody else have that problem? Nope. Okay. The other thing in, and I guess that's really why we come to these sessions, is so that we can learn more about Pathways and encourage our members to, if you like, do the right thing. I realise that some people do have problems with the Pathways system, with it being online. It's just getting used to a new way of doing things, and hopefully that's what we're doing here, is getting people used to that way and equipping people with the knowledge to go back to the clubs and tell people how they can do things. Now, if you look over here too, if you go back to the home page and the manager tutorials, I don't know if you've ever looked through these, but these are quite good. Each of the activities that you've got, each of the activities that you've got in the Basecamp Manager area is covered in these videos, these video resources here. So if we look at the Basecamp Manager overview, and we launch that, then you will see that, you will see that each of them uses a little story about somebody who's the VPE and working with the club ambassador or whoever it is, depending on the scenario. And if you look at this, we've got some videos and printed material for each of these things. So if you want to know a bit about level completions, here we are, we go over to this area here. This talks about the level completion progress, and then clicking on each of these will take you to a video that tells you about how to do whatever it is in Pathways itself. I won't go through that video right now. I'll go back to the home screen. Now, I see I'm nearly at time, so I might leave off there at this point. Is there any particular thing you'd like me to cover? As somebody said, we will be having some individual breakout sessions in just a moment. But anybody have any particular questions, something they'd like me to cover right now?
Yes, I have one.
Mm.
Now, how do you get the actual videos to play properly?
How do you get them?
Because I've never the actual Pathways videos to play.
Yes.
Because on my system they buffer like horrible, so I say, oh, forget it, mate. Now it takes you half an hour because that's a 5-minute video.
Fair enough. Yeah, that can be a problem. I'm not sure I can answer that right now. I'd need to look at your actual system to see where the problem was. It might be that your computer is a bit old. I'm really not sure. It's difficult to say. And
No, I think it's yeah. I'm just going to say I think they've got the actual quality of video is too high. No. Basically, I think what they're thinking is that everyone's got the YouTube internet. No one has.
Okay.
So who knows?
Stop the share at that point. All right, we've got 5 minutes left. I don't really have anything else at this point, so we might leave it there, and I'll hand back to Carl.
Graeme, Joanna Capera here. I just have a general question.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Anywhere in Pathways where we could send members to get the training videos for them, how to apply for speeches, how to track progress, etc.
Yes, absolutely. So I can just quickly go into share screen again.
Thank you.
Most of those things are going to be up here in tutorials and resources, and this is going to be the same whether you are in the Basecamp Manager or in your own just regular Pathways.
Okay.
So if you go up here, tutorials and resources, and click on that there, then you'll see that you can search for any kind of things, whether it's the evaluation sheets or project descriptions and so on. So if you click on tutorials here, you'll see that there's a whole list of things. If you want to know how to, let's say you're looking for how to evaluate, you can search for that as well. Usually anything that you want to find, you can search for in the search box. Sorry, I'll make that a bit smaller. The search box up here. So if I type evaluate in this, then we can see we've got something about how to evaluate. We'll click straight on that, and then you'll go straight to that. Or if we want to know about project completion, we can talk about level completion or path completion. So let's talk about level completion. That one will take you to this this screen here, where you can then launch the video for that. Similar to what we saw just before with accessing the Basecamp Manager functions.
Thank you, that's great. And it's accessible through the Basecamp Manager screen, but also through the member screen.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you.
Can I just add one little thing to that? Because
Please.
the question actually asked, how can we get members to request speeches? That is not part of Pathways. The requesting speech is part of your club process.
Yes, Michael.
And every club will have it different.
Graeme, how can I make someone else in the club a Basecamp Manager?
Ah, that's a good question.
You can't. There are only 3 Basecamp managers. They are your secretary, your VPE, and your president.
President or Vice Secretary, Vice President of the organization.
Actually, I think you can. Is it here? No.
Our secretary and president are fairly new to Toastmasters, and we've got at least one other quite experienced person in the club who would make a good Basecamp manager. If
Right.
But that is the problem with Basecamp. There may be, I realize there is a lot of tutorials, all right, but I'm a Toastmasters. I'm not interested in training myself in how to do this, how to do that. I'm interested in helping my fellow Toastmasters develop.
No, fair enough.
And here the information is all there, but it's so well hidden that it's almost impossible to find at times.
Okay. I might have to get back to you, Graeme. I'm not 100% sure. I feel like I saw that last night when I was looking through something. It's almost like a delegation function, but I could be wrong.
Yep.
So let me check it out, and I'll get back to you.
My understanding is those 3 roles are driven purely by what you set up as your club officers.
Yep, that's true. Whatever you set up in TMI, when you register your club officers, that's what gives you the Basecamp Manager privilege. Absolutely.
And we have hit the red.
So there we go. That's time. Back to you again, Carl. Sorry.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. Big round of applause for Graeme.